All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, we are just days away from the start of the 2020-2021 NBA season, and there are, of course, plenty of questions that have to be answered in regards to how things are going to shape out in the Eastern Conference. First and foremost, will the Miami Heat be able to get back to the NBA Finals for a second consecutive year? We saw the Heat ascend to being one of the top teams in the East last year. I think they really opened eyes when they dominated the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round of the playoffs. They used that momentum to get to the NBA Finals, and they definitely were not an easy out for the Los Angeles Lakers as they fell in 6 games. You look at this Heat team, they're battle-tested and they're mentally tough. They're led by, of course, all-star forward Jimmy Butler. They have a lot of talent around him. You see the emergence of Bam Adebayo. You also have Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, and, of course, Goran Dragic. So this Heat team is once again going to be very formidable. Now, after making the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times in the last 4 years, are the Boston Celtics poised to take the next step? And you look at Boston, they have talent there. You look at Jason Tatum, you look at Jaylen Brown, you look at Kemba Walker. Brad Stevens is a darn good head coach. But the biggest thing that is hindering the Celtics right now is the fact that they don't get consistent scoring from the interior. They don't have a big man who can score consistently. I know that they picked up Tristan Thompson from the former Cleveland Cavalier, but Tristan Thompson is not going to be a guy that's going to consistently score for you. He's a rebounder, and how much of a contribution can you rely on Tristan Thompson to give you? We'll have to wait and see. How will things work out for Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks? We've seen the Bucks finish each of the last 2 years with the best record in the Eastern Conference. In 2019, they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They won the first 2 games, but then they lost the next 4 to the Toronto Raptors. Last season, the Bucks finished with the best record in the East again, and then they got punched in the mouth by the Miami Heat in the second round. Giannis signed his contract extension. I was surprised that he did it. We saw this Milwaukee team bring in Drew Holiday from the New Orleans Pelicans. Will it be enough? I'm not sure, because you look at it, this team still goes through Giannis, and I'm not sure if Giannis has it in him to take over in the postseason when the chips are pushed to the middle of the table, and that is going to be the thing that will consistently hinder this club from advancing. You look at the new-look Philadelphia 76ers with Doc Rivers as their coach, and, will Doc be able to get them over the hump? You have the young talent there with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. They brought in the likes of Danny Green and J.J. Redick as well as Dwight Howard. And that's going to give, especially the acquisition of Howard, it gives them more depth in the middle. Danny Green and J.J. Redick give them more of a perimeter game. But it still comes down to Joel Embiid, and it comes down to Ben Simmons. And I think the key is going to be for Doc Rivers to get inside of the head of Joel Embiid, to have him consistently take over games, because make no mistake about it, when Joel Embiid is on top of his game, there really isn't anybody at that position in the league that can check him. It still comes down to the shooting ability or the non-shooting ability of Ben Simmons, and that's been a problem for him throughout his NBA career. He is not a perimeter player, and when he's on the court, it kind of hinders what Philly is able to do offensively. So we'll have to wait and see how all of that works out for the 76ers. You look at the Brooklyn Nets now with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And, of course, they had Kyrie Irving for a small portion of last season. Before he was done in by injuries. They did not have the services of Kevin Durant as he was recovering from an Achilles injury. But now both of them are back. You have Steve Nash as your head coach. Steve Nash does not have any previous coaching experience whatsoever in the NBA. He did bring in former Phoenix Suns and former Houston Rockets head coach Mike D'Antoni as an assistant, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think the Nets definitely will be a playoff team, championship team. I know some people are going to call me crazy for this, but I'm going to say no, just due to the fact that there are too many egos there when it comes to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and I don't see either one of them checking their ego at the door for the greater good of this team. So the Nets will be exciting. They'll be flashy, but I don't see them getting to the NBA Finals or hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy. You look at Russell Westbrook now with the Washington Wizards after he was traded by the Houston Rockets, and you just have to ask yourself, how are he and Bradley Beal going to be able to coexist? You look at Westbrook, and Westbrook is a stat guy. Westbrook does not make the people around him better. And Bradley Beal needs a point guard who's going to give him the ball and give him the opportunity to score. And if he's relying on Russell Westbrook to do that, think again. So I'll say this when it comes to the Wizards. If your name is not Westbrook or Beal, you better learn how to rebound and get to the basket, because that's the only way that you're going to consistently get opportunities to score this season. The way I see the regular season playing out in the East, I still think the Bucks will finish with the best record. I think Philadelphia will be right behind them. I look at the Heat, third, Boston, fourth, the Brooklyn Nets, fifth, the Toronto Raptors, sixth. You look at this Raptors club. Of course, they're in limbo right now, but, they lost Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka via free agency. You still have Kyle Lowry, and Pascal Siakam is an emerging player, so you can never count them out, especially when they have a good system in place led by head coach Nick Nurse and general manager Masai Ujiri. I look at the Indiana Pacers and Victor Oladipo as the seventh best team in the Eastern Conference. And that battle for the last spot in the playoffs in the East is going to be an epic one between the Orlando Magic, Washington Wizards, and Atlanta Hawks. You look at Orlando, they've made the playoffs in each of the last 2 years. You look how things are coming together for this young team with Aaron Gordon leading the way. You look at the Washington Wizards with Brad Beal and Russell Westbrook. Like I said, it's going to be up and down for them because they got to try to get some chemistry. And I'm not sure if Scotty Brooks, the Wizards head coach, is going to be able to get through to Westbrook. I know that they had a past life with each other with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I'm not sure if it's going to work out at least enough for them to make the playoffs. Atlanta, with Trae Young, they definitely are emerging, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take that next step and get to the postseason, but they'll definitely be exciting for this year. You look at the Chicago Bulls with new head coach Billy Donovan, a lot of young talent there. They're going to be exciting, but I'm not sure if the Bulls are ready to take that next step in the East. The Charlotte Hornets, of course, they brought in Gordon Hayward. He's already hurt. They drafted LaMelo Ball. How will things work out? Is he ready to become a star for that team? We'll have to wait and see. The New York Knicks, they should show some signs of improvement under head coach Tom Thibodeau, but it's still the Knicks, and they can't get out of their way. The talent is there. You look at the youngster Obi Toppin. You have R.J. Barrett. You have Kevin Knox in that front court. But can they put it all together to be a contender? Not yet. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're still trying to figure it out. We'll have to wait and see. Do they trade Kevin Love? That's a big contract on the books for the Cavs, rather. And would he be willing to go to another contender? We'll have to see. And I think the Detroit Pistons are not going to be a good club. I know that Dwayne Casey is there and he is trying to establish his system, but the talent is simply not there. Blake Griffin is a shell of himself. The injuries are starting to catch up to him. And when he doesn't have a quality point guard like he did with the Clippers and Chris Paul, you can see that Blake Griffin is definitely not a guy who's going to dominate and take over. So in regards to the playoffs, who has the best chance to advance to the finals? I think this really comes down to the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat. If Doc Rivers can find a way to get through to Joel Embiid and have him consistently dominate, there isn't a team in the East that's going to stop him. They have the shooting around him with the likes of J.J. Redick now that's definitely going to, pardon me, I keep saying J.J. Redick, please forgive me, Seth Curry, that's going to help this team get over the hump and get to the finals. And then you look at the Heat, and it's a situation with the Miami Heat. They're battle tested, and they know that they were so close to winning that championship last year. They were 2 games away from winning the title. This is a battle-tested team, a tough-minded team. Eric Spoelstra, their head coach, knows what it takes to win. And I think Jimmy Butler is hungry to go out there and get that championship. And I think his mindset rubs off on his teammates around him. I look at Bam Adebayo. He is improving year by year. And this club is once again going to be a problem. So I think it comes down to the Sixers and the Heat in the Eastern Conference. It's definitely going to be a battle. It's going to be a lot of exciting basketball here. And like I said, just like when I talked about the Western Conference, only 72 games in the regular season this year as opposed to the regular 82. So that means the importance of each contest goes up to another level, as you don't want to fall behind in the standings. You want to try to keep up there with the Joneses, so to speak. But the battle will be on. I think it comes down to the Sixers and the Heat, and we'll have to wait and see who gets that edge to get to the finals out of the Eastern Conference. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to thank all of the subscribers out there. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.